What is going on, Fit Fam? Welcome on back to my channel. My name is Megan Janice, the founder of Nomadic Fitness, and I teach you ladies how to eat way more food without any restrictions and work out smarter instead of harder so you can build that banging hourglass body and keep it for life year-round with ease. So if you're new to the channel, make sure to hit that like and subscribe, and if you're coming on back, thanks so much for joining for another video. Okay, in today's video, I'm gonna be walking through 8 reasons why you may not be seeing the results you want. So reasons why you may not be losing fat, building muscle, aka leaning out, toning up, looking real nice the way that you want to, feeling really nice, and actually maintaining these results. So here are the reasons why you might not be seeing those changes and what you can do about it to actually start getting those results. So let's get into these 8 reasons. Reason number 1, you may not actually be hitting your macros. And I can honestly tell you that 9 times out of 10, this is going to be the reason why you are not seeing the progress that you want to be seeing. So hitting your macros, meaning eating the right amount of overall food that your body requires to reach its goals, but specifically not just thinking calories, actually thinking of the sources of those calories, meaning your 3 macros. So your protein, fats, and carbs. So in order to lean out and tone up, you definitely need to be eating a high protein intake, a high to very high carb target, depending on where you are in your journey, and usually a moderate amount of fats. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, you don't know how much food you should be eating for your body and goals, then make sure to check out this video because I walk you through exactly how to calculate the right amount for your body based on where you are now and where you want to be. Okay, so it's one thing to know, all right, I should eat 140 grams of protein, 275 grams of carbs, and 60 grams of fat, for example, but it's another to actually be 100% sure that you are hitting those macros. And this is something I see a lot, is people will say, I'm tracking macros, but then if I were to go look at their actual food diary, it would be really inconsistent. Not everything they ate would be logged, and it would just be on and off day to day. So there's a difference between tracking macros, meaning you're just kind of randomly tracking food, versus hitting your macros. So hitting your macros means that 6 out of 7 days, every single week, you are within a 5-gram range for each of your macro targets. So if your protein target is 140 grams, that means you're getting at least 135 grams of protein, if not 145 grams of protein, as well as with your other macros. So the reason why it's 6 out of 7 days is because you are entitled to 1 free meal every single week, no matter if you're in a muscle gain phase or a fat loss phase. On your free meal day, you should still be tracking your food and eating your regular macro-friendly meals, but then just one of your meals can be whatever you want. So this is your chance to indulge in something really yummy, go out and do something social, and not have to worry about it hitting your macros. And it's okay to have this 1 free meal, because if it's just 1 meal out of the entire week, you're definitely still gonna be making progress. But again, you gotta make sure that the rest of the week you actually are hitting your macros. So here are the common ways where people go wrong and don't hit their macros even though they think that they are. Number 1 is that they are measuring their food, so using cups, tablespoons, and kind of just eyeballing their intake instead of being absolutely certain of their intake by using a digital kitchen food scale and actually weighing it to the gram. So this is going to make a huge difference because, for example, you might say, oh yeah, that was 1 tablespoon of oil, but it actually easily could have been maybe even 2 tablespoons of oil, or it could have been a teaspoon of oil, because you were just kind of eyeballing it, just kind of quickly measured it and threw it in, and you weren't really paying attention. So this can end up adding up to way more calories over or under, especially if you're doing this with many foods throughout the day. So this is why instead of eyeballing things or even using measuring cups, it's much better to use a scale, because that way you can say, all right, I'm supposed to eat 40 grams of oats for this meal. You can put the bowl on the scale and actually be sure that you are having 40 grams because the scale is going to tell you that. And now I know a lot of people, when they haven't weighed their food before, they think that this is like really crazy and that it's obsessive and that it takes a lot of work. But honestly, it takes you 1 extra second to actually just measure something, because you're already preparing the food in the kitchen. You might as well just double check to make sure that it's actually the right amount. Another thing people might do is they don't actually track everything that they're eating. I see this happen with a lot of new clients when I'm getting them used to tracking macros, is I'll go look at their food diary and I'll see there's not actually that many foods listed. And I'll say, okay, well, with this meal, I see you track some chicken and some rice. Is that literally all you had, was just chicken and rice? Did you cook it with any oil or any butter? And then they'll be like, oh yeah, I did use olive oil. And I'll be like, you gotta track the olive oil. Especially fats are more dense in calories than carbs and proteins, but you wanna make sure everything that's going into your body is getting accounted for. So any oils you cook with, any condiments like ketchup that you're putting on top of anything, maybe the milk and sugar you put in your coffee, or just any of the drinks that you're having that aren't specifically a 0-calorie drink, make sure you're accounting for these, because it can really add up. And then all of a sudden you can figure out, oh, I thought I was eating, 1800 calories, but actually you're eating like 2100 calories because of all these little things that got missed. The only things that you don't have to track are things like spices, garlic, onion, like random herbs like that. You also don't have have to track your non-starchy vegetables, so spinach, broccoli, carrots, that kind of stuff doesn't have to be accounted for. You can track it if you want, but it's definitely not necessary because you're not going to be overeating your broccoli. But everything else has to get accounted for. So in line with that, another thing that might be happening is you might be having little bites and tastes of things throughout the day. Maybe you were making your kid their food and you had a bite of their mac and cheese, and then later you're like, oh, I want to just have a little nibble of their cookie. Whatever it is, I know you might think, oh, it's just a little nibble, it doesn't count. And yeah, maybe sure, a little nibble here and there. But the thing is, that can again really start to add up throughout the day. Those are calories, those are macros that are not getting it accounted for, and you might be doing it more than you actually think you are. Okay, and then another thing is if you are eating out a lot. Now, don't get me wrong, it is definitely okay to go out for a macro-friendly meal every now and then and do your best to estimate what the macros are and put it in your food diary. But just remember that it is an estimate. You don't know for sure what is in that food, and it's very easy that you're actually a little bit over or under on what the actual amount is. And a lot of the time when it's food in a restaurant, it's actually going to be higher in calories, especially in fats, because they're going to try to make it taste really good. So lots of oils and butter, etc. So this is one area where things can go wrong. So especially if you're in a fat loss phase, you're really trying to lean out, I'd strongly recommend keeping eating out to a very bare minimum. Really ideally only eating out for your free meal every week and trying to not do any more outside of that, because you want to make sure that you are hitting your targets. Otherwise you are not going to see that fat loss happen. So you have to get really real with yourself and ask yourself, okay, have I actually been doing these things? Have I actually been weighing my food? Have I been tracking absolutely everything? And how much of it has been kind of estimating or forgetting small things? Can guarantee if you really add all this up and ensure that you start hitting your macros within the 5-gram target, you're going to see big changes happen really fast. Okay, the second reason why you might not be seeing results is because maybe you're just not eating enough. And this is often the case for a lot of women, is they think, okay, in order to lose fat, I have to eat really low calorie. And at first they're usually going to see some progress happen with that, but then it's going to start to stall out after a while. And that's because your metabolism has adapted and you're not really burning as many calories anymore. So especially if you've been eating on the lower calorie side for an extended period of time, meaning more than maybe just like a month or two, it might be time to consider that you actually have to do a reverse diet. You actually have to spend time increasing your intake so that your body is going to adapt. You're going to start burning more calories all the time. You're going to have enough fuel to build muscle, which is the thing that you actually want, that's going to make you look toned and sexy underneath losing the body fat. And it's obviously going to also make you strong and healthy. So some of the time you might have to accept that in this exact moment, you cannot focus on fat loss. You need to be willing to sacrifice a little bit of time to set your inner body up so that you can have a successful, lasting fat loss phase in the future. So if you don't know how to increase your calories or just understanding, how much should you even be eating, then again, make sure to check out this video. It's going to be in the description box below, because I'm going to walk you through how to reverse diet, aka increase your intake so that your body is going to adapt and you're going to start burning more calories all the time so you can lose more fat for good. Okay, a third reason why you might not be seeing results is even if you are hitting your macros, perhaps you are not getting enough high quality, nutritious food in your diet. So this is kind of one of the biggest problems with tracking macros. Even though I love it and even though it is very effective, one of the kind of loopholes that this creates is this idea that you can literally eat whatever you want so long as it hits your macros and you're still going to see progress. And yeah, that's true. But if your diet is made up of pretty much entirely processed foods, even though they're hitting your macros, that might mean that you're not actually going to end up looking or feeling as good as you want, because you also need to make sure that your body is getting real nourishment, that you're actually getting good quality nutrients, vitamins, minerals, and that is what is going to make you look and feel good and really just kind of push things along with your progress. So definitely make sure that a big portion of your diet is still including single ingredient whole foods. So vegetables, fruits, things like potatoes, your grains like oats, rice, etc. And then obviously your meats, fish, chicken, and then things like eggs and clean healthy fats like avocado, olive oil, etc. Try to make sure you definitely are still getting plenty of those in your diet, that maybe around 70 to 80% of your diet consists of those types of foods. And then yes, you can fill in the rest with whatever you want, with slightly more processed foods like bagels, bread, pasta, whatever. As long as you're hitting your macros, you're going to be good. But definitely make sure that there is enough real nutrients in your diet as well, and I can guarantee that's going to make a big difference. The fourth reason why you may not be seeing results is alcohol. I know it sucks, because having some alcohol is obviously fun. It can be tasty. It's a big part of your social life perhaps, but the harsh reality is that alcohol is pretty much not doing anything for you when it comes to your fitness progress. There are so many negative side effects of consuming alcohol. First and foremost, it just is empty calories. So of course, if you're trying to fit that within your calories, that means that you're taking away from actual nutritious food foods that are gonna help you build muscle and speed up your metabolism, and you're just wasting it on alcohol. Or if you're not trying to fit it within your calories, then you're actually consuming excess amount of calories, which means that you're gonna be gaining fat from it. The other thing is that if you're drinking alcohol, it's going to affect your sleep quality, so you're not gonna be recovering as well. And then it's also catabolic, meaning that consuming too much alcohol is going to affect your body's ability to recover and build muscle. And muscle is the thing that you really want to look really good, speed up your metabolism, and have these results all of the time. So don't get me wrong, a drink every now and then is okay. I always tell my clients, 1 to 2 drinks per week is not a big deal. But if you find that you are consuming more alcohol than that, and again, get really honest with yourself, genuinely go through your week and think, was I actually consuming more than I maybe think I am in this moment? Because a lot of the time that is just such a huge reason why you're not going to be seeing results, is there's just too much alcohol getting consumed. So I know that this can be really hard to change initially when you're just kind of in the habit of it, but try to remember that you actually don't need alcohol to have fun. I know that kind of sounds cheesy, but honestly, just hanging out with your friends and being clear-headed, feeling rested, waking up and getting to have a full productive day is a lot more fun than having drinks and waking up hungover is. Another thing with alcohol is it's going to cause water retention because it dehydrates you. So if you drank the night before, you're going to wake up probably going to weigh a little bit more on the scale because your body's holding on to water, and you're going to be a little bit more bloated and puffy. So you might look like you just gained a bunch of fat. That's not necessarily the case, but you're not going to be looking and feeling the way that you want to. Okay, the 5th reason why you may not be seeing results is, are you being consistent with your workouts? And especially, are you actually pushing yourself hard enough in your workouts? So of course, first and foremost, you want to go back and ask yourself, am I really working out as much as I have said that I'm going to? So maybe one week, I actually only ended up working out 2 days that week. Then the next, I got 4 days, and the next it was 3 days. So obviously we need to have consistency with whatever your plan should be. Try to pick a number of days that you can actually realistically commit to. It's okay if it's only 3 days, if that's literally all that you have time for. But if you're saying I'm gonna go 5 days and you consistently keep only going 2 or 3, maybe it's time to decrease the amount of days you say you're gonna go, actually get consistent with that, and then see if you can increase from there. The flip side of this is that you shouldn't be working out too much. Nobody should be working out 6 and definitely not 7 days a week. 5 days is the maximum that anybody should be doing because your body needs time to recover. Again, especially when it comes to building muscle. Your muscles don't grow in the gym, you tear your muscle fibers in the gym, and that's why they're sore after a workout, and then they're recovering, growing back bigger and stronger than they were before, so that you're getting that toned look. That's happening when you're eating, when you're sleeping, and just when you're taking time off from beating up that muscle. But then in the workouts itself, you want to make sure that you are really making that workout worthwhile. And this is a really big area of opportunity for the vast majority of people, is that they just aren't training hard enough when they're in their workouts. And especially for women, a lot of the time they just really don't realize how strong they actually are. So they're kind of intimidated in the gym, and they're maybe sticking with lighter weights. And yeah, they're feeling a bit of a burn, but they're saying, okay, I got to my 8 to 10 reps and now I'm done. But actually they easily could have done another 5 to 10 reps. So you really want to make sure that you're pushing yourself very close to the point of failure. You don't necessarily need to go to complete failure, meaning you literally could not possibly do a single more rep, but you want to be within a couple reps shy of that. So maybe like 2 to 3 reps shy of actually not being able to do any more. And a lot of the time it's a lot more than you think it is. You're getting to that point where you're like, oh my gosh, this is hard, my muscles are burning, it's kind of painful, and then you think, okay, I'm gonna stop now. But actually, if you pushed yourself, you could do another 5 reps. So next time you're in the gym doing your workout, really challenge yourself, really try to see what you're capable of, make sure you're controlling the weight, make sure you're controlling the range of motion, and really push yourself to the limit within every single set. And I promise you, if you do this, you're gonna see a big difference in your results. Okay, a 6th reason why you may not be seeing results is your steps, or just kind of your basic daily movement. Obviously, it's amazing if you are going to the gym, if you're being really consistent and pushing yourself hard. But the problem is, a 45 to 60 minute workout, and then if you're not doing anything active outside of that, that could definitely be getting in the way of things, because there's still another 23 hours in the day. And if you're just sitting all of the time, that's definitely not going to do a whole lot for kind of keeping your calorie burn a little bit higher. So this doesn't necessarily mean that you have to walk like crazy. You always hear the 10,000 steps a day. That's not necessarily the case. Not everybody needs to walk that much, but I usually do think you should be walking at least 6,000 steps a day as a bare healthy minimum. And the average person, especially in North America, is usually only walking about 2,000 steps a day. So this is a really big area of opportunity that you could adjust easily. And then depending on how you're progressing, especially again, if you really are in a fat loss phase, you want to be seeing that big progress, simply walking more is a great way to help speed up results. So getting closer to that 10,000 steps a day, maybe even 12,000 or even sometimes 15,000 if you really want to push things along. The 7th reason why you may not be seeing results is going to be because of your hydration, your sleep, and your stress. So I'm just going to kind of put all of those together, because if those things aren't doing well, all of them are going to cause water retention. And water retention, again, is going to make you not see weight loss on the scale, even though you should be seeing fat loss, but it's masking it on the scale, or you're just going to look kind of bloated. So again, that's getting in the way of your progress. So definitely make sure you're drinking about a gallon of water a day, or 3 to 4 liters at least. And this is going to vary on the person. Some people may need a bit more, some people may need a bit less. A good way to really know if you're hydrated is going to be the color of your pee. It should be a really light yellow color. If it's any closer to more of like a yellow color, that means you're dehydrated. So definitely increase that. And then you want to make sure that you are getting good quality sleep, that you're going to bed early enough, waking up early enough, not staying up late all night, because that's going to mess with your hormone production, which is really vital with muscle gain and fat loss, and also just managing your hunger cues. And then of course, your body cannot recover if you are not getting good quality sleep. You can't be building that muscle, speeding up that metabolism. So make sure that you are prioritizing this. It might not seem like it's a big deal, but it actually is. And of course, it's going to just make you feel and look better all around. And then lastly is stress. If you are a very stressed out person, that is definitely going to be getting in the way of your results, because your body is not going to feel safe to be putting on that muscle and decreasing fat when it thinks that, you know, it's in this very dangerous position. Because again, your body doesn't know the difference between a wild animal trying to chase you down and kill you versus you just being really stressed out in traffic or with your job. So definitely, if you find you are somebody who's very stressed, try to analyze what is going on in your life that is causing that stress, and then just really try to prioritize your self-care, your self-love, adding in a little bit of meditation, adding in some breath work, some journaling, gratitude practice, going for walks, listening to podcasts, whatever it is, find what works for you. And I know this is so much easier said than done for some people, but there's usually a way for anybody, no matter how busy you are, to take a little bit more time, do some deep breathing, focus on what you're grateful for, and that's going to really help bring down your stress levels. Okay, and then the 8th and final reason why you may not be seeing results is just that you are not being patient enough, and it hasn't been enough time. So a lot of the time people will message me and be like, I'm 2 weeks into my cut and I just feel like I'm not seeing progress and I'm hitting a plateau. 2 weeks is not enough time to know that you're not making progress and to be in a plateau. That's way too soon. You need to be giving a good quality strategy, meaning properly, for sure, knowing you're hitting your macros, doing your workouts, doing your steps, pushing yourself hard enough in your workouts, good sleep and recovery, and actually adhering to that strategy for really at least 4 weeks as a bare minimum, but I'd say even more like 8 weeks to really see some progress happening. I know for myself personally, when I do a cut, I find I usually don't start to see big changes happening in my photos or in the mirror until I'm about 8 weeks in. And that can be frustrating, because when you're in the cut, you can feel like you're doing so much work and you're not really getting anywhere, but it's usually just because you need to wait a little bit longer before you're really gonna see that you have obviously leaned out. And especially with muscle gain, that's something that just really takes many months. Your body can actually lose fat 4 times faster than it can gain muscle. So if you're trying to see, you know, some more glute and leg definition, trying to see your abs a little bit more, give your body time to really put on that muscle, especially if you are new to strength training, you're new to building muscle. The good news is when you're new, you actually can see results fairly quickly because your body is hyper responsive. It's never really built that muscle before, but it's also going to take years to really build all the muscle that you want to have. So be patient and try to just fall in love with the process and fall in love with the fact that it feels so good to be healthy, strong, and nourished. Make that your primary reason for why you're doing this, and just know that the physical changes looking really good are gonna come as a natural byproduct. All right, Fit Fam, so I hope this video was helpful. If you have any questions, comment down below. I would love to help you out. I'm always here for you. And if there's anything else you wanna see from me, let me know. But I hope this video gave you some guidance on what changes you can be making if you are not seeing the progress that you wanna be seeing. Thanks so much, and I will see you in the next video.